Ladies and gentlemen, this was a simple game. And simple games calls for simple messages. The message here is if you're not, well, this is a couple of things I can say about Mr. Buffalo here. But if you're not sound and I don't even know what to call this, it's called this, but there's a specific um, theoretical pattern that they named this. They gave it the specific name. I can't remember, but this is Wayward Queen Attack. That might be the name actually. Wayward Queen Attack. You don't play this move and then get into a whole trade off, which is what he does. And also, don't play this if you're not really trying to deliver checkmate. He plays this, and the scary part about it is not this, because this will not be a checkmate. You know, the king will take. He's a fighting piece too. But it's if you blunder and play knight here to attack the queen instantly, they take the pawn, and now you're now this pawn's it's stuff under fire, and you're gonna be stuck chasing around the queen. That's kind of the idea. But really, you're supposed to honestly, if you really want to be scary, play this. Say I play my Sicilian, then play this. Let's say I kind of sniff out what you're doing, which is the e6 is the move to. Well, no, it's not e6. Is it e6? Yeah, it's e6. E6 is the move to stop the checkmate threat after the queen goes to h5. So here, then you go here, still threatening mate. You're still threatening mate. It's just a lot harder. But you see that it's not even a good. It's not a good opening to play. It's not a good opening to play. Maybe for like very like low level. You know, I'm only 300 at this point. Um, and that was after a full day of rating, trying to rating climb. Um, but it's just not a. It's this is not a sound opening. Um, Especially when somebody knows the tricks, which you know, even at the beginner level, you still have to be mindful that they might know the tricks. And I did, and now your queen's super passive, and I got a major lead in development. I still honestly didn't play this right because, truth be told, I should have just took this pawn and made this trade. Um, oh, that was a nice air drawing. Look at me, all right, improving. And take this, and now your queen's hanging, and now your queen has to go either back to the home square or back to being passive, and then I'll continue development. And black is just much better. Like I have a decent pawn structures, not the greatest. These kind of are probably weaknesses at some point. But major lead in development. This is just a target, and you got a queen just stuck in the middle of the board in no man's land. Um, but I didn't. I was trying to be too cute with the ideas, and I play here, which it equals the position, which is a good segue into this point. Um, you will get a lot of like opening blunders, and these ideas will exist in your game. These are the ideas you need to capitalize on because this will make the opponent play out of their structure. But again, this is not good because now white is kind of back in time because let's all remember in chess, white gets to go first, meaning black is mainly on the defensive the entire game. But it's life. So he takes anyway. Perfectly fine with me. I'll take back and see in this position I'm already slightly getting an advantage. And now he and this is another problem with this position. you try to open up the center, and instead of taking this free pawn, because by the way, well, no, this pawn is not free. I actually do take this pawn and realize that my bishop was just hanging. But luckily for me, I was smart enough to just say, okay, this guy clearly is a expert. I'm using air quotes in queen moves. Let's get the queens off the board. I have more pieces out. He's probably going to hang pieces like I do in the next move by taking with the bishop and completely hangs my bishop. But it's life. Life goes on. But it's so many bad missed ideas by both players. Because now white is +3. Definitely because I'm down a bishop. But I literally was able to castle into a check. You know anything about any like decent level chess, you know that is like and then he blunders his bishop right back. You would know that such a concept never happens. Never happens. But now I got pieces in the game. I've castled. So my rook is laser beaming. This file is just shut off. So I'm about to get shit started. And I'm like, you know what? Let's take this because now we're gonna isolate and double his pawns because we're in the end game. There's no queens on the board. This is purely an end game. And now I'm like, okay, I can finally get into some regular opening idea. And then he takes the rook. I honestly should have taken with the rook. Like there was nothing wrong with it. Only thing, but I'm saying that in hindsight because I was not expecting the next move to be the next move. And this move, so I took with the knight, by the way. I didn't take with the king. He plays the unfathomable move B3. Listen. Very, very seldom will you see a move. First of all, this eval bar was all over the place in this game. My games are like that, you know, the computer is very mean to me. You will rarely see moves that are in one move, you go from pretty much equal to pretty much losing the next move. Because my guy, you just hung your rook. And it's one thing to hang your rook, right? Let's say this position was like slightly different. Like somehow this bishop was like, I don't know where this bishop would be like to save this rook. But let's say the knight was here. Well, that's not even, I don't even know how, like, I can't even make up, like in this position, I can't even make up a way to save this rook. That's not just at least like developing pieces first and then playing B3. Like B3 just had no guard. There was no guard. Like you, and this is another problem. Pawn play. People don't know how to play with pawns. Now listen, I move this here, and this pawn is just here. But one thing about this pawn is that there's nobody that's threatening this square. That's the difference. You just seen me put my bishop on this diagonal. Meaning, you cannot move this pawn unless you're completely fine with giving up the rook for free. It's for free. There's nothing stopping me from just taking this rook, and that's exactly what I do because now, and then he loses the game in another move. You cannot make this up. This man, 2 moves. Decides not only am I going to hang my rook, then for what reason I have no clue. This move does nothing. It does nothing. It doesn't attack anything, and you're fighting for invisible squares. I don't know what ghost this guy was seeing. But you just put the knight right back on the same diagonal this bishop was on. And you hang your knight. Now here, you know, there's a saying that amongst a lot of high tier chess players. Saying is never resign. Let me be the one to tell you. In this position, it is absolutely okay that he resigned, which is exactly what happened. He resigns the game. Or I think he resigns. Yes, you can see right here, he resigned. All I'm gonna say is, if you don't know, and listen, I hung a bishop right after we traded queens. Okay, so I can't say too much. Right, I hung this bishop cleanly. Here, I was completely winning actually. And I hung the bishop. This is not really losing. Well, it's not, and I wasn't completely winning. Let's not be honest. +2 in chess. Now, human wise, yes, it's not completely losing, but computers are going to tell you how wrong and how we all fall short of the greater good. But it's life, so whatever. But I cannot for the life of me understand the thought process behind some of these moves. Now, listen, again, my light square bishop got hung, and you're just going to have to believe me when I say I apologize for my outburst, because that was an outburst. I got a little greedy. I wanted to take that pawn, and I just couldn't help myself. But this guy here not only blunders the bishop back, because he himself got greedy, which I just did. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, right? And even the eval bar agrees. Look, the eval bar agrees, guys. Computer is actually agreeing with me for once. I'm thinking, okay, I attacked the bishop. He wanted to move the bishop. I understand. I just hung a bishop, and at least his bishop was under attack, and mine wasn't. I just hung it just because I wanted the pawn. But after that, get your knight out. That's fine. And trade knights. That's fine. We're in the end game. But then to hang after you traded the rook, your one rook that was actually in the game. Your one rook that was in the game. You traded it. Because my plan here wasn't even to do anything crazy. It was not to do anything crazy. But he played B3. B3 just completely changed my plans. Because my plan was, I don't know what he would do. Maybe get a knight out. Probably. I wouldn't take the knight because it's defended. Just play here. Attack this double isolated pawn that I created. And we'll play chess from there. Luckily this bishop is defending though, so I can't do that yet. I'm probably would have to make some other moves, but just to laser beam down this file, because the file is open, or even move my knight, put my rook back on this file. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same. Once you have an open file, just put your rook there. But this man, just if I could justify this move, I would. I would. I genuinely would. If I could justify it. Again, he traded his work that was in the game, right, for my work that was in the game. Completely understandable tactic. At this point, I'm like, okay, trade rooks. Look, the eval is agreeing with me. Stockfish agrees. But this man then just says, you know what, take my rook. Take my rook. I don't want to have a rook in this game. I want to just have knights and bishop. Knights and bishop versus knights, bishop, and rook. Down a whole rook. Down a whole piece. Probably completely losing. Right? But even better, I just want bishop and pawns. That's all I want. That's all I need to win this endgame. You can keep your bishop, and you can keep your knight, and you can keep your rook that's about to totally laser beam either on this file or this file. Guys, guys, do not give your opponent one move threats. Get out of here.